Boxing Truth here. Just wanted to bang out a prediction video for the big fight this weekend on Showtime at the Barclays Center between Adrien Broner and Mikey Garcia. One of the big fights made this year. Many big fights. And it's an interesting fight in many ways. When the fight was first announced, Mikey Garcia was a heavy favorite. And now, with the weigh-in just over an hour away, a lot of bets coming in on Broner. Obviously, Broner still has believers, despite the form he's showing coming into this fight. And if Broner makes the weight, it'll be the first time he's made 140 pounds in almost 2 years. When he fought Khabib Al-Haddad for the vacant WBA super lightweight title, a title he had to vacate in his very next fight for failing to make weight against Ashley Theophane. All he had to lose was a half pound, but refused to do so. Fought at welterweight against Adrian Granados, who pretty much jumps up between super lightweight and welterweight in a number of his fights. So, Broner still has some believers out there. They still want to think that he's an elite fighter who's had some bad nights due to lack of discipline, lack of dedication, whatever. And it is an interesting fight in some ways because Mikey, he's never really been matched with this type of fighter before. Broner brings athleticism, solid power, good counterpuncher. So he brings some qualities, some talents that perhaps could trouble Mikey early. But Mikey is the much more confident fighter coming in. The guy with more momentum. He's showing better form coming into this fight. And he's coming off a great performance against Slack Teaching, a fight that Mikey was not a heavy favorite in. Slack Teaching was a dangerous opponent, big puncher, strong, and Mikey had a hell of a performance. It was a lights out performance, knocking him out. Left no doubt. And coming into this fight, he's the favorite for a reason, because he's the more consistent fighter. He's been the guy who has shown more consistency in his career. He's showing a lot more ambition. He's willing to take on big names from 135 and perhaps even all the way up to welterweight. Mikey Garcia is not trying to waste time in his comeback after a long period of inactivity. And he's getting these fights now despite not being signed officially to a promoter. So that's very interesting. Mikey has already revealed in a recent interview that he still is not signed to anybody and still open to discuss business with any promoter out there. So perhaps Mikey is still an undercover Al Haymon fighter. And I'm looking forward to Dan Rayfield's tweet on the exact guaranteed purses both of these fighters are going to make for this fight. It's an expensive fight on regular Showtime, which is cool. And it should be a good fight. But Mikey, off the recent performances, just looks like the better fighter. He looks sharper. He looks like the much bigger puncher. He's coming in with more confidence. And Broner, he is what he is. There's a reason why he's the weakest 4-division belt holder in the history of boxing. I mean, can you even name the guy that he beat for his first world title? I don't think so. It's been a weak run towards his 4 championship titles. Vacant straps, unknown guys he beat for title belts. And his best win to this day is Paulie Malignaggi, a life and death struggle split decision win. His best performance to this day is against Antonio DeMarco, who's a solid fighter, former world champion. But that was a long time ago. That was about 5 years ago. And Broner, since he's left the lightweight division, and since he got his ass whooped by Marcos Maidana, has failed to deliver on any impressive performances. Broner is what he is. He's a weak 4 division belt holder who goes life and death against gatekeepers, barely scrapes by hand-picked opponents. This is a guy that struggles to look good in showcase fights. So he's had many opportunities to look good in some of the fights that he's been in. Guys like Emmanuel Taylor, guys like Carlos Molina, guys like John Molina, Ashley Theophane. Has had opportunities to advance his career, like against Marcos Maidana, Sean Porter. And he failed to deliver on both counts and failed miserably. Wasn't even competitive in those fights. Had some moments against Maidana, but ultimately got his ass whooped, was broken down, and was beaten up. And got out hustled against Sean Porter, and he just didn't throw a punch in that fight and kept fouling throughout the night. So, I don't want to hear the excuses for Broner. He's had plenty of opportunities in his career to advance his career and to look good in some of the fights that has been picked for him by his advisor. And he's failed to deliver on a number of times. So this is no accident here. Broner is what he is. He's not all of a sudden just going to be able to make weight, have the best training camp of his life, and all of a sudden be the fighter of his dreams. Because that's what it's going to take for him to beat Mikey Garcia this Saturday night. He's going to have to be a man possessed. He's going to have to be what like Buster Douglas was against Mike Tyson, or the one night Victor Ortiz finally dug deep and decided to be a fighter against Andre Berto. He's got to fight out of himself. He's got to be a man possessed. He's going to have the best performance of his career against Mikey Garcia. Even though he's moving up in weight, is still regarded as the much better fighter. He's the undefeated fighter. He's a 3-division world champion. He's fought pretty good opposition. And he's probably one of the 2 best, if not maybe the best, American fighter today, outside of Andre Ward, in terms of accomplishments and on paper. Mikey Garcia is knocking on the pound-for-pound door. And even if he gets an impressive win over Broner this Saturday, that still doesn't have him on my pound-for-pound list. But another impressive victory this Saturday night from Mikey. He's well on his way to becoming one of the elite fighters in this game. He's just 2 more big wins away to finally be on that pound-for-pound list. And it's a list that Broner really has never accomplished or really has done enough to really be on that pedestal. He just doesn't have the credentials. Won 4 world titles, but who did he beat for those titles? Malignaggi is still his best win. Can't even look good against gatekeepers. Broner is a fighter that likes to stay in the pocket. He's selective with his punches. Doesn't like to throw a lot of punches. Doesn't really have the gas tank to throw a lot of punches. He's an athletic guy with speed, good counter puncher, tries to capitalize on your mistakes, stands in front of you and waits till you punch him and tries to counter with his hook or uppercuts or his right hand, his lead right hands. The lead right hand is going to be Broner's best weapon against Mikey Garcia, because Mikey Garcia, he does have a shaky defense. Not the best defense in the world. He gets hit with right hands, and Broner could win the fight by throwing a lot of lead right hands and keeping Mikey Garcia guessing on when he throws the lead right hand. He's got to land his lead right hand. He's got to land his uppercut. He's got to land his hook. He's got to be more busier in this fight than compared to his other fights. He's got to let his hands go. if he really wants to win this fight. Mikey, he's not the most physically strong fighter Broner has fought. Broner has been beaten by guys that are stronger than him, more physical than him, and he was walked down in those fights. But Mikey is the most skilled fighter Broner has ever fought. Not the strongest, but he's the most skilled fighter. Mikey's a more skilled fighter than Sean Porter. He's a more skilled fighter than Marcos Maidana. Mikey is a guy that has sparred with everybody, has sparred all the elite fighters that he needed to spar. He's been brought up by a boxing family. Boxing is in his blood. And he's just in a better place right now, mentally, physically, than Adrien Broner. He's the guy that's being pushed as becoming a big star in boxing. He's got the talent. He's bilingual. He just needs the fights and the performances that he needs in order to gain his star power. And he's being pushed because he's the undefeated guy. He's showing much more promise. And Broner, he's had his opportunities, his chance, and he's failed to deliver. So Broner is most likely being served up to Mikey Garcia in order to build Mikey Garcia's name even further. Mikey's gonna do a job on Adrien Broner. He's gonna land his great 1-2. He's gonna go to the body. He's gonna be able to take advantage of Broner's shaky defense. Broner just doesn't have the style to really trouble Mikey too much. If he moved his legs more, if he fought at a distance more, if he gave Mikey Garcia different looks, he could really trouble him, because distance, range, and length trouble Mikey Garcia. But Broner's going to be right there most of the time. He's going to be in the pocket, and Mikey's going to be able to land his devastating shots. Mikey's just looks sharper, stronger with his punches. He's punching very hard, and he's going to chip up Adrien Broner this Saturday night. I mean, I was trying to see for a reason to pick Broner, but I just have no confidence in him, man. I just can't believe that he's all of a sudden just going to have the performance of his life, of his dreams, in order to win against Mikey Garcia. He just hasn't shown it in a number of fights. Hasn't been able to deliver any lights out performances or any wowing performances. It's been a long time, and Mikey's coming off a pretty damn impressive performance. And it's going to continue. Mikey's going to chip up Adrien Broner. He's going to outskill him. He's going to outland him, and he's going to land his devastating 1-2 on Broner all night. Broner's wide open for right hands, and that's Mikey Garcia's best punch, his straight right hand. He's also got a really good hook and can throw a damn good hook to the body. He's going to break Adrien Broner down throughout the course of the rounds, land his power shots, and I can see a stoppage late in the fight. If Broner is at the best possible version of himself, he could really give Mikey Garcia some trouble, but the ship has sailed. I mean, he's not going to be an elite fighter. He's not going to be a pay-per-view star. It's not going to happen. And Mikey Garcia is going to close the chapter on that book. This will be Broner's last big fight. And Mikey's going to move on to bigger and better things. If you're a boxing fan, you'd rather see Mikey Garcia fight. Because Mikey Garcia win. Because he's the guy that's more ambitious. He's willing to fight the fights that he needs to fight in order to be recognized as an elite fighter, as pound for pound. Broner, what the fuck he's been doing all these years? He's been fucking around, struggling in showcase fights, not willing to prove that he's an elite fighter. Well, this is his opportunity again. Will third time be a charm? I doubt it. He's going to have to beat the best fighter he's ever fought. And he's going to have to be at his absolute best in order to get it done. Two tasks I don't think he's going to be able to do at this stage of his career.